I'm October Revolution. I'm here with Go-Go Boots, and we'll be bringing to you the Victorian Roller Derby All-Stars versus Montreal Roller Derby, the Skids on the Block. This is one of the last games happening this weekend. I think it is the last regulation game happening this weekend.
Yep.
And it's going to be fun. Thank you for joining us.
Yep.
I'm going to read for you the Montreal Roller Derby roster. Number 008, Low Rider. Number 123, Miracle Whips. Number 13, Alcatraz. Number 18, the Honey Badger. Number 19, LaBrosse. Number 289, Cheese Grater. Number 400, Little Tricky. Number 59, Kaiokenzi. Number 658, Surgical Strike. Number 66, Falcon Punch. Number 7, Cracker Jazz. Number 888, Tiny Fury. Number 934, Why So Serious. Number 95, Petit Peluche. And number 9999, Mange-moi Elko.
And for Victorian Roller Derby All-Stars, we have number 10 is Bisexual, number 11 Sarah Chambers, 117 is Chop Chop, 128 is Amy Booth, number 130 is Dire Skates, 192 is Sage King, 20 is Laurie Evans, 2806 is Danny Darko, number 35 Anaconda, 38 is Bone Shaker, 4000 Anna Pave You Over, 54 is Lady Trample, 66 is Lauren Foot, 85 is Bianca Charetta, and that is the roster for Victorian Roller Derby All-Stars.
Quick before we start, let me introduce to you our officiating crew for this evening. We have head NSO Tara Bite, head rep Harley Quinn Davidson, and then for the NSO crew we have Locomotive, Extra Crisp, Derby Sanchez, Dolan It Out, D. Molly Schur, Switzerland, Nora Leaf, and Alcoholic. And for the skating officials, we have, again, Harley Quinn Davidson, Umpire Strikes Back, Martin McFly, Rockstar, Stone Nasty, Killer Bite, and Il Presidente.
And we just saw Victorian putting up more than one pack onto the track, but Lady Trample is round and is through for lead jammer for Victorian Roller Derby.
We saw Victoria do that also on Friday when they were playing Denver.
And I think we are looking at, that is 123 Miracle Whips, jamming, but I believe the star in hand, and now having been passed to the pivot.
Star on Miracle Whips. Star on for the pivot, going to force the call off. It's going to be 14 points for Victoria on that jam. Big start for Victoria. The last time these teams played, it was like 258 for Victoria, 99 for the Skids on the Block, and that was at Champs last year. Interesting lineup. We had a pivot out in the back with the Montreal jammer. That's number 66, Falcon Punch. Jamming for Victoria, we have Sarah Chambers.
And it is Sarah Chambers that is out in front and has picked up lead. A lot of frantic body slamming going on in the pack right now. The Falcon Punch has escaped from the pack and is coming around in attempting to score.
It's going to force the call off with only 3 points scored by Victoria. Going to bring them up to 17. Still 0 on the board for the Skids.
The Skids have been quite, have had quite a rise in rankings in the past year or two. I believe last year was their first ticket to Champs, and currently ranked number 9 in the WFTDA.
I think they played Angel earlier this week as well. They lost Angel, but it was pretty close considering that Angel is ranked number 4, I believe.
Yep. And they also had a very good game against arch rival. Again, taking the loss, but when you're looking at these top 10 teams, the points differential is getting smaller every year.
And you know, really honestly, the way you climb those rankings is playing up. I think the Skids for a number of years have been playing teams that are ranked considerably higher than them, and they take these losses, but they don't get demoralized by them. They grow, and by growing, they climb the rankings and gain a fan base as well as showing up here.
There are a lot of fans out there. In fact, I'm going to be cheeky and give a shout out to one fan in particular from my old league. That is Gemmeroids from Big Bucks High Rollers, who is probably Montreal's #1 fan. She's also a #1 fan of 1, 2, 3. That is Miracle Whips. Who's now picked up lead.
Yeah, I was going to say lead for Montreal. It's going to be the first one for them in this game so far. And it's a foot race to the pack. That's Lady Trample.
And you don't want to get into a foot race with Lady Trample. She is very speedy on those skates.
Miracle Whip's deciding to call this one off, a little slow to get up. She was able to score 3. 4 went to Lady Trample, so that's going to make the score 22-3. First point on the board for the Skids.
So New Skids have now put up number 66. That is Falcon Punch.
Looks like Lady Trample's in the penalty box. I didn't see what she was sent for, but this is going to be a power jam for the Skids, their first of the game. And they pick up lead right in turn 2. Very quickly, takes about 3 seconds to get that way.
Yeah, we see Falcon Punch just launching herself into that pack and breaking through, picking up a nice 5-point pass there, and looking to do another one before Trample gets out of the box.
So she picked a cut up in turn 1. She stepped out, thought that the other skater had also stepped out, turns out not. So now there's going to be a 2-minute jam with Lady Trample on the track. Although just as she was about to complete her initial pass, she committed a back block. So we're going to switch the jammers up again. Remember, she'll only sit as long as that Montreal jammer sat, so probably about 15 seconds or so, not even. Oh, no, yeah, about 15 seconds or so. And yeah, we're going to go the full 2 minutes.
And we are seeing Montreal's jammer being brought back onto turn 1 there.
Both jammers are scoring eligible right now. Neither are on their initial. Strong tripod in the back.
And we see number 95, Polici, doing some nice bridging for her pack.
And great offense work right there. Was able to break up that VRDL defense, make a lane through the middle for their jammer, and they were able to get another 4 points. Falcon Punch now back in the fray again.
Nice hit there by Lauren Foot, bringing Falcon Punch to the outside of the track and recycling against that lovely tripod wall.
I want to say that the Skids have done a great job of holding Lady Trample. She picks up these 4 points, but spent almost that full 2-minute jam getting those 4 points.
You can see Lady Trample also looking to put her hands up and going, can I call it off? And her referee going, no, we're doing the swoopy hand sign rather than the pointy hand sign.
You're not lead. You lost that. Score's 22-21 right now. That was an 18-point jam for the Skids. That's exactly what they need to do.
Yes.
They need to increase the point count considerably, right? Because even if they do end up falling behind, and maybe they won't, maybe they win, but even if they do end up falling behind, they need to make sure that they keep this close in order to preserve where they are ranked currently.
Yeah.
This is Sarah Chambers.
Yeah, sometimes this is a game of rankings, and the more points that the new Skids on the block can get onto the board, the higher their rankings will go.
Yeah, Montreal really stretching out that 20 feet, getting as much as they possibly can. But Sarah Chambers still getting many through coming up on that soaring pass.
And it looks like Kyle Kenzie has taken off the star, trying to push through the wall. We don't know if there's going to be a star pass or a star stash. It looks like it was stashed.
It was stashed. I think you take it off so you're ready for all eventualities, right? It's like, I've got it in my hand. If I have an opportunity to pass it, I'll pass it. If I have an opportunity to take off as fast as I can, I'll take off as fast as I can. I'm ready.
Yep. If you haven't picked up lead, it's a very good tactic to have in your back pocket. As you said, it's good to be prepared for anything. As we've seen in some of these games, everything can change within the blink of an eye, and being prepared, it's good to be prepared.
I agree, especially, you need to be flexible as a jammer.
Let's be fair, some of these jammers have some matrix moves, so flexibility is definitely their thing.
It's also a mentality, not only a physical attribute. Lead given to Anna Paviova.
And that is the Honey Badger up for Montreal.
First time we've seen both these jammers. Anna Paviova picked up lead but got recycled, so this is not a scoring pass for her. It's actually recompleting her initial. Now she can score.
Yep, and again, we've seen the star being removed from the helmet. So Honey Badger has it in hand, and we'll see if... Nope, and out the front of the pack, that was a very nice star stash. I guess as well it has the possibility of confusing your opponents and being like, nope, I'm just a blocker. No, wait, I'm a jammer.
Nope, you don't know who I am. You don't know what I'm doing. Did I pass it? Did I not? It gives those blockers something else to focus on, right? Not just focusing on stopping your body or stopping the pivot's body, but focusing on where everybody's hands are.
Yeah. So we have Miracle Whips up to jam for Montreal and Lady Trample up to jam for Victorian.
That was a really interesting start by Victoria. Lead went to Lady Trample, but if you saw, Danny Darko started in the back and slowly skated up, picked a spot on the line, and then cleared that path for Lady Trample. It was like, look at me, follow me, and then just straight through the pack. Beautiful jammer blocker communication went on there.
And some beautiful offense. I mean, we've seen a lot of fantastic offense from Victorian this weekend. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see more of it during this game.
It's going to be 5 to Lady Trample on that pass. Everybody's resetting. There is a star pass that just was completed. That's Montréal Alco, who's now the jammer. I speak very bad French. I'm really, really sorry. Anyone from Montreal watching right now, I'm really sorry. Just want to get that off my chest.
I mean, we did go and check with both benches before the start of the game in an attempt to make sure that we tried our hardest to get pronunciations right.
Yeah,
these are going to occasionally slip by the wayside, but we always endeavour to get it right, or at least correct ourselves if we didn't.
I've done a year now of Duolingo with French, and I hear myself speaking it, and I'm like, nope, that's just bad. So I'm sorry. Sarah Chambers jamming for VRDL.
And Tiny Fury living up to that skate name and furiously attacking those walls in order to try and get through.
Sarah Chambers has a similar jamming style to Tiny Fury. It's kind of fun to watch them jam together. They both do the tap, 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 tap instead of the pushing on the tripods. Testing the walls for teeny tiny little kinks they can break through.
Yeah. I actually have an analogy. I think there's 3 types of jammers. There's the gazelles, there's the rhinos, and then there's the lions.
Oh, I like it.
The gazelles are very footwork orientated, like as we will see Sarah Chambers demonstrating now. Rhinos very much pushing, and the lines are a nice combination of the 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is a power jam for Victoria. Sarah Chambers called that one off just as Tiny Fury went to the box, going to freeze her in the box, and Anna Paviova starts unopposed.
I was going to say, Anna Paviova has had a very, very good weekend this weekend, and I think everyone has been admiring the fantastic jamming skills.
Yeah, I think I've decided that she's goals.
Yes.
Yes. Anna Paviova is lead for Victoria.
Montréal doing last line defense there, trying to push Anna Paviova to the outside, but Anna Paviova out and back around.
Tiny Fury now engaging with that tripod in the back. Seeing a little more of the 3 defense, 1 offense from Victoria than we're used to seeing in the Angel game last night and then today in this game. Although right now they're back to all 4 together for defense, leaving Anna Paviova to fight those 3 Montreal blockers on her own.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching the VRDL game at the finals at championships last year, and they have incredible pack work. I think I remember hearing, and I'm sure I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, that they work exclusively in certain lines, and you can really see the way that they solidify together in their packs and their walls.
Yeah, and you can really see that they think about the track in zones, right? It's not just we're going to move this pack over here, we're going to move these players to block this other player. They're thinking about who's watching each line, and because of that, they're able to kind of knock those jammers out and into those lines, sometimes while skating backwards at speed, differently than a lot of other teams can do. Although sometimes they get jammed up, like we're seeing right now. Both of these jammers just stuck behind this defense. Looks finally they're going to send some offense up, but that doesn't stop Montreal.
And that jam coming to a conclusion. Seeing another 5 in the sky for Victorian. If you were just joining us, Victorian roller derby are in the white with the blue accents, and Montreal are in the black jersey with the pink and neon yellow accents. Or is that neon green?
It's green.
It's green.
Victoria right now has got 63. Montreal's got 21. And of the last 10 jams, 8 have been lead by Victoria. They've only 2 Montreal lead jams, and they were in a row early in the game. This is going to be a power jam for Victoria. Lady Trample is on the track. It looks like Lady Trample's also headed the penalty back, so we're going to have another 2-minute jam.
And we've had Montreal's jammer released. That is Falcon Punch. So as you said, yes, this will be a full 2-minute jam. No lead, no calling it off. And Falcon Punch, that was it?
It's a high block.
High block, there we go.
It's a high block, which just missed having both jammers sitting in the box because Lady Trample had just left when that penalty occurred.
And Trample, very, very easy work, squeezing through on that inside there. Trample approaching the back of the pack once more, trying to use her own teammates to pull herself through, but Montreal have really locked down at the front there to try and hold her back.
Falcon Punch able to find a lane through that inside on the apex, completing her initial pass. She's now scoring eligible. Lady Trample's already scored 10 points on this jam.
And is that another? That's 4 in the sky. So we've got 14 points. Yep, 14 points up for Lady Trample in this jam.
It's going to be 4 points now for Falcon Punch. Half of Montreal's blockers are in the box, so they aren't able to make that brace tripod that's been so effective, and they just have 2 people that have to stop Lady Trample on their own.
And Lady Trample receiving some offense from 192. That is Sage King, another name that is probably familiar to any of the viewers who've been watching this weekend. Myself and P. Armageddon were just swooning over the incredible work that Sage King has been putting up this weekend.
So Lady Trample put up 21 in that jam. Falcon Punch put up 6. Those are the first points that Montreal had scored since Jam 5. It's going to make their score 27, and Victoria's at 84.
So it looks like we are having a timeout for Montreal. So we are going to talk to you about if you've got any posts during this game. We would like you to use the hashtag Big O 2018 so we can see all of your tournament posts this weekend. It is the official hashtag of the tournament.
Please let us see where you're sitting and what you're doing, where your cats are.
Oh yeah, if you want to send pictures of cats, we are a-okay with that.
I'm always all right with cats.
Cats, dogs, ferrets, hamsters, boa constrictors, ponies, you know, just any animal picture. In fact, if your pet has a roller derby inspired name, that's even better. I once ended up shedding a tear after seeing a picture of a dog called Scald Beagle.
I love it.
That is it. It was amazing. It truly was amazing.
It's like a pun on a pun. It's a double pun.
It is.
If you have a pet at home with a double pun roller derby name, please share that with the world. Don't keep it to yourself.
No.
We've transitioned now into a official timeout. It's interesting. I think we've seen over the weekend, or I've seen over the weekend, correct me if it's been around a long time and I've missed it, but the evolution of starting the pivot in the back with the jammer and having them move together through the pack, kind of like buddies, like a pair.
Yeah, we've seen it quite a lot this weekend. I don't know if this is just becoming a bit of a trend or if this is something that is just this weekend, but it's very effective sometimes having one of your own players. You can kind of use them as a battering ram sometimes, and it's also nice to have a buddy, like you said, have your friend near you.
I also, I wonder if this is kind of the return to the pivot being the heart of the strategy of the team. Like the pivot's back there because they have some sort of strategy with the pack and are able to help move that jammer through without the other jammer getting right up on and getting through that hole because they're right in front in order to bop them out or stop it. So, well, let's see. We're going to see how it starts now. This is Sarah Chambers jamming up against...
That is number 18. That is the Honey Badger.
Sarah Chambers gets lead.
Yeah, Sarah Chambers has also had another fantastic weekend on track, scoring a number of points in the game against Arch earlier on today. And we see Sarah Chambers being drawn to the back of the pack by 400. That is a little tricky. And we are once again seeing that beautiful three-walling that Montreal has been working very nicely this weekend. We see Sarah Chambers pushing to the front, and that tripod has followed. Couple of bodies hitting the floor, but Sarah Chambers is through and picked up a 5-point pass.
We return it back to a scrum, although it looks like Victoria is recycling a Star Stash jammer. There's going to be some offense back there trying to break up that tripod for their jammer at the same time that just 2 Montreal blockers were holding Sarah Chambers, and now down to 1 as one got sent to the penalty box. And the only reason that Montreal had to let Sarah Chambers go is because they ran out of engagement zone.
Yeah, that was one stretched out pack there.
Reminiscent of, this was like 2012, where Cherry from Atlanta used to be able to kind of do that one-on-one blocking all the way up to the end of that engagement zone.
And that jam being called. Let's take a quick look at the score. Victorian are currently on 104, and Montreal standing at 27. And we have just over 10 minutes left of this first half. We want to give a big shout out to Rydell, experienced unmatched stability and response in a simplified revolutionary design. Powerdyne Arius Platinum Performance Redefined.
Jamming now for Victoria, that's Lady Trample up against Miracle Whips. Lady Trample had a slow game on Friday, but scored over 60% of the points in last night's game, and now tonight is at about 50% of the points for Victoria. So slow start to the weekend, or Denver had figured out how to contain her, but these other two teams, Angel and Montreal, haven't quite figured it out yet.
And it looks like we've had a star pass to Petit Pelich. So they will be now wearing the star. I think sneaking through, having picked up some points there, perhaps Lady Trample wasn't quite aware that they were on a scoring pass. But Lady Trample are aware now and decided to call it off.
I think there might have been a little bit of whistle confusion. Remember, we're on track 2. Track 3 is right on the other side of the room, and you can kind of hear the whistles. Seems like everyone paused when the whistles went off on the other track, looked around, and then went back to roller derby.
That is very true. Too many whistles spoil the broth.
It's part of the fun of tournament roller derby.
Also, we're not going to encourage you to leave us just yet, but don't forget there is the MVP game, which will be going on track 1.
Lead went to Anna Pavia over, but Montreal had completed their initial and was on their scoring pass forces. That call-off holds Victoria to 1 4-point pass. Score is 112 to 31.
We have the Honey Badger up to jam against, I believe that's Sarah Chambers.
Start this jam with everybody on the track. Let's see if,
Yep, that is Sarah Chambers.
And then we're going to take an official timeout, it looks like.
Everyone got a little bit excited there. I was like, oh, no, no.
No, this is 4 whistles. This is 4 whistles.
I kind of wanted to make an Animal Farm comment there about 2 whistles bad, 4 whistles good.
Yeah, I think it's except unfortunately,
it would be
it's the other way around.
Yeah.
2 whistles good because then you're lead, 4 whistles bad because then the jam is over.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're not lead, then 4 whistles good, I guess.
Yeah, or if you've taken a bit of a battering, 4 whistles is probably quite good as well.
I wonder how, I'm sure there's many, many moments, especially in those 2-minute jams where jammers are like, I just want those whistles. Is it time for the whistles yet?
Yeah. We are still in that in this timeout. Looks like we may have had somebody popped into the box. Unfortunately, we can't see the box very well, but there is 3 players for Victorian on the track right now versus 4 for Montreal, so it's pack advantage Montreal.
I think it's Lauren Foote, but I can't be 100% sure. Lead goes to Montreal. It's only the second time Montreal has gotten lead so far. There's now 11 leads for VRDL.
And I can see on the corner on track that there are some Montreal fans having a little dance, having a little cheer. Honey Badger being knocked to the floor by Laurie Evans.
Big recycle going on. Sarah Chambers right now. 3 Montreal blockers on the track at the moment. All 4 of the VRDL blockers are back on the track.
And we've got a bit of offense coming into that tripod at the front. Sage King also bridging for Sarah Chambers right now.
Sage King going to come up and try and play a little offense. Unhappy with how long it's taken to get Sarah Chambers out. Sarah Chambers still held up at the front by Montreal. Honey Badger being held by 3 Victoria blockers in the back. Going to call that off. 4 points go to Montreal, 3 to Victoria.
And I do think we saw Sage King going into the box towards the end of that jam as well. So again, we are starting with 3 Victorian blockers to Montreal's 4 on track. And that last jam, that was a winning combination for Montreal. We'll see if they are able to do that once again.
It's going to be Miracle Whips jamming up against Lady Trample. Montreal doing a great job of holding Lady Trample in the front while Miracle Whip is able to get through. That's 2 lead in a row now for Montreal. They haven't strung leads together yet in this game.
And Miracle Whip's just flying around the track, trying to pick up points before Trample can get back.
It's 4 unanswered points for Montreal. Only the second jam they've had in this game with unanswered points.
Yep, and we have 5 minutes left in this first half. Just to recap the score, we have 39 for Montreal, and Victorian are still in the lead with 115 points. Up next we have Anna Pavuova up against number 59, Kayo Kenzie.
Maybe the 3rd jam we've seen her out today. Absolutely going to be wanting to put her impacted stamp onto this jam.
Quite the scrum in turn 1. VRDL getting a big recycle, losing the pivot for Montreal. That's number 934, Why So Serious.
And 1-2 beat. That is Anna Pavuova out and lead. But looking to see Kayo Kenzie just behind.
That's a big win for Montreal. I mean,
Absolutely.
you might not think so because they didn't get lead and they didn't score points, but that's the first time that they've forced a call off with a 0-0 jam. The other 2 times they scored points that were unanswered, but this time they forced that call off right away, and that's what you really need to do if you want to keep this score from getting out of hand, from getting away from you.
Yeah, fantastic tactics, just sneaking through, and the closer you have those 2 jammers, the riskier it is to continue that jam. Looking to continue this jam, we have Miracle Whips, but it is Sarah Chambers out and lead for Victorian All-Stars.
Victorian Montreal really determined to keep the action up there, right behind corner 1-2. The people in that section of the seating, good seating choice.
Sarah Chambers able to ride the apex around to stay on the inside line, get an easy 5 here.
And Miracle Whips had the star in hand, passing it off to number 934, Why So Serious.
It's a beautiful star pass. Why So Serious got out in front of the Victoria blockers, and then the jammer showed up out of nowhere and just handed the helmet cover and disappeared.
Very sneaky.
Yes. That's how you got to do that.
Jammers.
Don't get your poor pivot stuck. It's going to be 4 more points for Victoria. 124 now for Victoria, 39 for Montreal.
And just over 2.5 minutes left of this first half.
Lady Trample jamming up against Falcon Punch. Lady Trample able to get around, pick up lead jammer.
Falcon Punch finding that outside line, trying to clear around, but that lovely waterfalling that we've seen a lot from Victorian just getting in the way. Falcon Punch getting out there, but Lady Trample calling it off before any points were scored by Montreal.
Montreal hasn't scored in 3 jams.
That's a lot of words in one go. Right, not long left.
And Montreal is hoping that Tiny Fury can change the tide of the points and hopefully get more points on for Montreal.
But what I'd also love to see is a lead jammer being called instantly.
Tiny Fury getting caught up in that Montreal tripod in the back, and Anna Pavuova able to push through the Montreal defense in the front and is now lead. Montreal's pivot headed to the penalty box.
BRDL already on a scoring pass. Hit the pack. Strong very far out of play. Won't be too far off.
And Paviover putting up 5 points on the board.
Right in front of us. VRDL, of course, well staffed by some familiar faces.
It looks like we have a blocker for Montreal heading to the bin.
It's going to be 2 for them. One of those players that you see in the pack is the jammer. Just to remind you.
And I think because the helmet cover has been removed, it does very much look like 3 blockers.
Montreal just got their pivot back. They're not at 3, but Victoria doing a great job of keeping them broken up. Though Montreal able to grab a recycle here.
Montreal, that is a little tricky.
Showing the door and had it closed in their face, but they made it through a second door on the inside line for another 5 points.
20 points so far for Anna Paviova.
This is a very nice scoring jam for Victorian right now, really solidifying their lead even more. And this looks like this will be the last jam of this half as the minutes count down on the clock. Paviover looking to get some more points, tap in those hips, and I think, is it a final 5? No, that was a final 4 points.
29 points on that jam.
That was one heck of a jam for Victorian.
You don't often see those 30-point jams so much anymore. Not like back in the day of the 1-minute-long jammer penalties.
Oh, I think there are a lot of people who are very pleased that those are no longer part of our game. But we have 9.5 minutes left of intermission. Please make sure you come back very soon.
We will see you there. I'm October Revolution. I'm here with Go-Go Boots. We were told to remind you who we were, so you can put a quote-unquote face to the disembodied voices you were hearing in your living room.
We're just floating voices.
It's
We
true.
don't actually have any actual bodies.
Score is 157 for Victoria, 39 for Montreal. Penalties, a little tricky, seems to be in a little bit of penalty trouble with 4. There's a couple of other Montreal skaters with 3, Low Rider and Falcon Punch. And then over on Victorian, we just have 2 with 3, Sage King, Lady Trample, and then a couple of others with 2. And the penalty total, though, 17 for Montreal, 10 for Victoria.
Yeah, Montreal picking up a couple of more penalties. But overall, like we were saying, nobody's really looking like they're in too much dire straits.
Looks like Victoria's going to start with that double lineup again. There's 2 jammers, there's 2 pivots, there's a whole lot of blockers.
I thought I'd just taken another hit to the head in the halftime.
And everything was double?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
no, this is a tactic we're seeing a little more nowadays from Victorian.
It's interesting because they're only doing this in the first jam, either of the game or of the half, and I'm not quite sure if they're experimenting with it or if this is kind of their opening move, like when you're a chess master and you have a signature opening move.
Yeah.
Is this Victoria's new signature opening move? Are they moving their pawn in front of their king 2 spaces? Is that what's happening here?
Possibly. I can see.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
It looks like we have the bulls running as well. A couple of little head nods and foot drags from some of those blockers, but we are back underway right now.
Looks like Sarah Chambers is the jammer that stayed on the track up against number 1, 2, 3. That's going to be Miracle Whips. Interesting fact, actually, VRDL in this game, that's lead for Sarah Chambers, has only played 3 jammers, Lady Trample, Anna Paviova, and Sarah Chambers, and they've all scored statistically about equal points. I think it's like 51, 48, and 50. So,
yeah, we were talking at today's game earlier with regards to Victorian. They actually have quite a deep jammer rotation, but sometimes you kind of just go, we'll just stick with stick with 3 and see how it goes. I guess it also depends on how tired your main jammers are. Occasionally you might throw a couple of other jammers into the mix to go, okay, you know, we'll give so-and-so a bit of a rest, a bit of a break. Because sometimes, you know, fresh feet can make all the difference between a win and a lose.
It's true. 8 points total for Sarah Chambers on that jam. I think also when you have a tournament in the beginning of the season for you, you can kind of tweak and experiment. You see Texas do a lot of this, throw a bunch of jammers out, see who's working, pull everyone else, kind of refine your lineup, refine how things are working. But I think when you're looking at 3, we have a timeout being called by Montreal. But I think when you are looking at 3 jammers with equal amounts of points or around equal amounts of points, what that's saying or what it's saying to me is that the heavy lifting, I mean, not that the jammers aren't great, they're all wonderful and fantastic jammers, but there's a lot of heavy lifting going on by this pack, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have a jammer that's carrying your team, that jammer is going to have 50, 60, 75% of your points. But when you have jammers performing equally well, you know that means that the rest of their team is really preparing, giving them the best conditions they could possibly have.
Yeah. I think as well having skaters within the pack that are comfortable with jamming also helps them hone their blocking skills, because they know what their jammers want and they know what they would want as a jammer. So yeah, we have been seeing a lot more in recent years of players, instead of just having 1-2 star jammers and maybe an extra in the back pocket, we're seeing a strong 3 and then a couple more. Pivots are being worked just as hard, so they are in tip-top condition. So if they do take a star, it's not a drop in the possible quality of the jamming.
This is a power jam for Victoria Lady Trample on the track is now lead. I think you're completely right. I also, it's interesting to note that pivots have to train both as jammers and as blockers, which is notoriously difficult. We give a lot of attention to jammers, partially because we have to watch them a lot in order to find out how many points are being scored and such. But when you really think about it, those pivots are doing so much of the heavy lifting, and especially now when you see the pivot starting in the back and coming up with the jammer, creating more of that like partnership with jammers. That's hard. You know, it's hard to train as 2 positions.
And we see Lady Trample picking up a 5-point pass there. And as we were talking about pivots working hard, that is number 66, Falcon Punch, taking the star, having been the pivot previously.
Falcon Punch able to force the call off, end the jam. 7 points for VRDL on that. 172 to 39.
And if you want to see more action from the likes of these 2 teams, you will want to know that all of the information to do with the 2018 International WFTDA Playoffs and Championships. WFTDA tournaments provide everyone who loves roller derby an opportunity to witness the most anticipated matchups of the year. You can get all the information for that on WFTDA.com/tournaments.
We have a scrum pushing through between turns 1 and 2. That is the Honey Badger for Montreal. And Anna Paviova headed to the penalty box for VRDL. This is going to be a power jam for the Honey Badger in Montreal.
And we can see some fantastic footwork from the Honey Badger right now. Again, with that fantastic toe-stop work, just getting nudged to the outside, the inside there. And that is a lead call for Montreal and for the Honey Badger.
It was, took about 45 seconds for lead to be awarded in this jam.
And we're seeing that more and more nowadays. Instead of a very quick lead call, one after another, we are actually seeing some jams where it's taking almost a full minute before anyone has been called lead.
There was one last night in the VRDL Angel game that took 1 minute and 57 seconds for lead to be awarded. So yeah, the sport is definitely, it's evolving and changing, and it's becoming a game where you need to spend a lot of time watching the pack and understanding how it's working on those jammers. It's going to continue to be a power jam. Anna Paviova headed back to the box there at the end. 5 points going to Montreal. It's now 44 to 172.
They send out Miracle Whips as their answer to getting the maximum value out of this power start.
They've got Miracle Whips on the line. This is a power start. There's 3 blockers on the track. Oh, excuse me. I didn't see that. I didn't see that pivot hiding. All 4 blockers on the track for Montreal. All 4 for Victoria.
And look at that apex jump. Well, not even apex, that
was a
straightaway jump.
Just a leap.
Yes.
You got to put your whole body over that line.
Yeah, fantastic work from Miracle Whips. Miracle Whips, not just a fantastic jammer for the new Skids on the block, also a fantastic jammer, I believe, for Team Canada.
Oh.
We've got some very international fabulousness from a lot of skaters at this tournament.
We just had both World Cups very recently, so it's kind of fun to see everyone get back to their home teams and settle into their season.
And Anna Paviova just stood on track and just arms by the side and really just squeezing in, hoping not to do any forearms, I think that is, and just kind of trying to sort of sway into that wall in order to try and get through.
It's going to be 2 points for Miracle Whips, deciding to call that one off.
Oh, I think that might have been 3.
Yep, looks like the 3rd one. It's 8 total on the jam. 172 to 52 now. It's Falcon Punch lining up with Sarah Chambers.
2 familiar jammers on the jammer line. And I think we might have an empty penalty box.
Do we now?
Oh, I think we have. At the moment, there are too many bodies moving, and I can't quite see. I think we have a full 4 for Victorian.
Yeah, it looks like we do have a full 4-4. Lead jammer goes to Falcon Punch, so she's still fighting up against the front of the pack, is able to get out. That's 3 in a row for Montreal.
And they are really looking to keep this momentum up. And with jammers working like this on track for the new Skids, certainly shortening that point gap.
This is definitely what the new Skids need right now, especially considering that they lost to Angel, but Angel lost to Victoria, and I think that it would be a good morale boost for them to have less of a point differential between Victoria than Angel did yesterday. So forearm called on a blocker from Montreal. That is why so serious?
Chambers is out, and so is Falcon Punch. Both coming around on scoring passes right now.
Falcon Punch going to run long on this one. It looks like Sarah Chambers able to get out pretty quickly. Falcon Punch still inside the pack, looking for some points. Sarah Chambers reapproaching. Falcon Punch is going to call it off to avoid being lapped picking up 1. 58 to 176 now.
76 points for Victoria. 2 fantastic teams that I'm sure you will agree with me have put an absolute stellar performance in at the Big O here.
Lady Trample versus Miracle Whips going into this jam.
You read about it in a newspaper, and there is a local newspaper that's absolutely free here.
Pack rolling back to the jammer line just before the whistle. Traps, Miracle Whips.
Comes out weekly. Yay.
And coming out more than weekly.
Lady Trample able to knock down pretty much every one of those Montreal blockers to get lead.
Trample using those toe stops on the outside, but some recycling or waterfalling rather, at the front.
This is now a power jam. Miracle Whips was sent to the penalty box for a multiplayer block.
Those do occasionally happen for jammers. Montréal at the back being goated there, but Trample is out, 5 points on the board.
Officials look similar to me. I've only got eyes.
The pack is slowed pretty much to a stop. Got a Victoria was able to capture LaBrosse at the back. LaBrosse now ducking on the outside, getting out in front so they can complete their tripod.
Miracle Whips is back on the track, leaping through the air.
Doesn't take a cut there. It's completed that initial pass. Gonna stop the jam then.
I think that was a jump landing on the feet and then going.
And then it wasn't out of it. It was in. She just kind of fell all over.
Yeah.
I couldn't see all of her limbs though, so I was waiting with bated breath to watch the ref. Were her hands in? Were her feet in? There's lots of zebras between me and the lines.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are still waiting on transparent referees and officials. We are working on this technology now, but for now, we will just have to take a little guess every now and again until we are able to confirm what's going on. But confirming themselves as a jammer is Kayo Kenzie for Montreal.
That is Anna Paviova for Victoria, who's got the lead.
What?
It's words.
What?
Just roll with it.
I don't know. I thought we were just going to talk about the Commonwealth.
Well, that's right. We're all Commonwealth here. God save the Queen.
Being
and all that.
taken to the outside there, but coming round on a 5-point pass.
5 points away from slapping that double century. Kayo Kenzie from Montreal, 58
Nice little
points.
hit there
2 more
by
points against him
number
to get to the
95,
bottom
Palici.
half, but I've got faith in him. I think it's going to happen.
Victoria doing a good job of both holding back the Montreal jammer and breaking up the Montreal defense, but Montreal is able to create a strong tripod in the back and hold Anna Paviova with it.
Kayo Kenzie still not out of the pack, having a tough time getting through that wall. Start is in hand, but hasn't been passed.
Kayo Kenzie really helping Montreal rack up a few more points. This jam is amazing. Double time.
It's gonna be another 5 points.
Let's have some pop.
Initial pass completed by Kayo Kenzie.
Kayo Kenzie gets out of the
But
pack.
that was
Victoria to the
nearly a minute and 14 minutes before Kayo Kenzie was able to get out of the pack there.
Yeah, something Victoria is very good at and works on very hard is being able to catch the jammer and then kind of rotate them out of bounds.
Yeah.
Either in or out, depending on where it's easier and closer. And they just do it over and over again, and they're relentless about it. And you'd see, Kayo Kenzie working the edge, almost getting there, and then getting knocked down so that both of her hands went out of bounds. And now she has to recycle over and over again.
Then we could do a 27-hour flight home back to
Yeah, they have
England.
very effective blocking, and at the moment, effectively blocking number 66. That is Falcon Punch.
Falcon Punch is a lead.
It's only going to take you 5 hours to get back
See,
to
that was the
Australia.
announcer's curse because I was
Yeah.
saying how well they were blocking, and then Falcon Punch got out.
Melbourne, that's right. It's a
Sarah
Seattle
Chambers out now.
suburb of the city.
See, it looks like there's a lot of tape on Sarah Chambers' helmet. I think after it came flying off last night, she's not taking any chances anymore.
I think we've had a couple of things falling off skaters
Yeah.
this weekend.
I saw a skate come off in the Angel Denver game. If you had a bingo card this weekend, you just cleaned up.
Yep.
There was a hot dog mascot. There was a helmet that came off. Skate came off. A referee lost a wheel.
Normally it's just like a toe stop, but the Big O has certainly provided us with many interesting pieces of equipment coming off during the games.
Nothing like a tournament to test the longevity and stamina of your equipment. It's going to be 4 points for Sarah Chambers on that pass.
If you do need new protective gear, though, I'm going to recommend going to Hit This Derby is everything you need to get rolling, from skates to protective gear and unmatched service for all your Derby needs. Before you hit the track, hit this.
So this is a power jam for the last 20 seconds. I see now the Montreal Jammers standing in the penalty box. Falcon Punch back in the action.
Someone's in trouble though. Oh, and it is March, the quad 9 for Montreal.
Montreal's
Join you in our little
pivot
celebration
now,
area.
headed to the penalty box.
Yeah, Montreal and crew taking a little seat in the box. So this will start Montreal with a blocker down.
Score now 219 to 65.
So scoreline 65 Montreal, Victoria 2-2-0. 14 minutes and a little
Victorian
bit
will
left
have
on
a
this
blocker
game.
advantage,
Ladies
as
and
we just
gentlemen,
said,
who will
with
be
4
joining us
blockers
at the
on the
after
track.
party later?
It's like 2 on the track, oh 3, excuse me, on the track for Montreal.
Team Montreal will be there.
And that is Honey Badger
Are you joining us
up
at the
against
after
Lady
party?
Trample.
Trample making
Good.
light work of that pack.
You're the only person in reach for me.
Honey Badger looking for a hole.
Maybe if you tell people that you'll be at the after party giving away free kisses, they might turn up.
Late Trample picking up a 5-point pass there.
Honey Badger out now, forcing the call off. Only 5 points
People from Seattle,
total for Lady Trample.
Yep, only 5 points.
Well, that's a win when you've had many jams with 1, 2, 3 scoring passes. Stopping it at 1 scoring pass is definitely, I think, something to be celebrated.
Absolutely. Another thing we need to celebrate is the after party. You should be joining us at the after party if you are in if you're in Eugene, Oregon. But you know what? If not, you should come next year. Big O is hosted every year, and we would really, as much as we love hearing you on the love having you on the stream, should be here in person. Watch this amazing derby.
That's quite a fun tournament. 52 games over 3 dates.
Yes.
Sarah Chambers is the lead for Victoria.
Miracle Whips with the star in hand.
Yes, double 1 meaning 1 for each leg, and their ability to use them to accelerate through and split a pack.
Star pass completed
Mysticism and
by Montreal. That is Mange-moi El Col.
speaking of ones, I'd like to go through that S1. S1 is durable, functional, stable. The S1 curve.
It's now 235 to 65 with about 12 and a half minutes left in the game.
Yep, and up next to Jam and a pay-view over versus the Honey Badger. Both been doing some lovely work on track during this game and this entire weekend.
I think that might get a few people to show up.
Like the police.
Honey Badger being drawn
Laura
back.
Evans at the end of the pack, they're trying to draw a cut on the Honey Badger.
And that looked like Lauren Foote just sweeping the Honey Badger off track. Honey Badger back round. But Victorian has picked up the lead. That is Anna Pavey over.
Start off the helmet of the Honey Badger.
So she can do the Macarena at the after party later this evening.
Anna Pavey over headed to the penalty box on a cut. This is going to be a 2-minute jam.
Montreal on this power jam. That VRDL wall is just locking down. But we have had the initial pass completed by Honey Badger.
So remember, the last time these two teams met, Montreal lost 253 to 99. So they need to score quite a few more points if they're going to match that.
Do we think they can get to that coveted 100 mark? Yes, Terry, I do. Do we think Victoria can get to that
And
coveted
power jam is
300
now
mark?
over.
Yes, Terry, I do.
It looks like we have all of our players on track. A nice empty penalty box.
Anna Pavey over falling. Only one hand out of bounds, though.
Where it's at.
And very quickly recovering and swooping through the pack.
She's like, I've had enough of this. I'm knocking you all down now.
Ad-lib away, love. I would. Honey Badger, Anna take you over. No lead jammer. So when
Honey
I
Badger
put
just
one
trying
down, and then it's
desperately
up
to get around the
referees
hips
to
of
shut it
number 20,
down.
Laurie Evans there.
Why, thank you, referees, for doing my bidding.
Yeah, I've got to say, we've seen some incredibly impressive blocking this weekend. I think for Victorian in particular, number 66 Lauren Foote and number 192 Sage King. I've really noticed some of their incredible blocking this weekend. And definitely for the new skids, Why So Serious has been very, very effective as both blocker and a relief jammer, Mojma El Kou. And, you know, everyone's been doing some sterling work. But I've noticed myself seeing those names in particular over and over again.
By Montreal. When I'm looking at the NSO,
Scores 236 to 70. We're now taking an official review from Montreal. Now, if they don't retain this official review, they'll only have one clock stoppage left. If they do, they'll have two. They've used 2 of their timeouts already.
It's a bit like the Crystal Maze here.
We are seeing the officials conferring with one another, and we do have a microphone, I believe, on track, so you can get the gossip straight from the horse's mouth. With our referees being able to tell you exactly what the official review is and the outcome. And I am very relieved that the referees are doing that rather than relying on us announcers to unfurl the official review information for ourselves.
Yeah, there's not a wonderful way for. You might be surprised to know that in roller derby, there's not a wonderful way to relay information from inside the track to outside the track that doesn't involve holding things in the air and or designating an extra human being to come and deliver it. So when the referees themselves can just tell you what happened, you lose a lot of wasted time and confused answers.
And they can do it so eloquently as well, because you know, this is their sporting job to do all of this and to know the intricate details of the rules. Yeah, it looks like the news is being delivered to the benches right now.
And here's the microphone. So we're going to take a pause for Harlequin Davidson.
Montreal is reviewing the lack of a track cut call on the Victorian jammer. Upon review, it was determined that the Victorian jammer only touched the forearm to the outside of the track. Therefore, no track cut call is warranted, and Montreal will not retain their review.
I'm assuming they're talking about that fall that happened in turn 1 when I said, only one hand out of bounds.
Yep.
It turns out that I was right, and I now can be smug about it.
Eagle-eyed announcers letting you know what could be officially reviewed before it's even reviewed.
Yeah, to be fair, I have a very, very nice view of turn 1, but don't ask me what's happening in turn 3.
Yeah. Turn 2 can be a little bit fuzzy as well with a few of the bodies over there.
Yeah.
In fact, we're not actually here. We are just making up all of this as this goes along.
Yeah, this is just like when you watch Wizard of Oz and listen to Dark Side of the Moon. It just happens to sync up.
Yeah.
So too is this simulcast.
Yeah. In fact, a lot of this is just CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can I say? It's all a giant illusion.
We just fix it in post. It's fine. That's Falcon Punch out of the penalty box with a forearm penalty. Lady Trample is lead for VRDL.
And a little one-on-one action. That was number 19, Labros, for the new Skids, facing off against Trample as the final blocker in that wall.
I don't have an official everything.
Lady Trample not having a lot of trouble getting through that pack. Victoria doing a good job of breaking up Montreal. They're now going to go to the back to try and recycle and get it back together. Causes a back block penalty to be called on Lady Trample. Quite a few penalties for her tonight. I believe this is her 4th.
Or at
Falcon-
least her fourth.
Yes, at least her fourth. Falcon Punch was released from the penalty box before Lady Trample sat down, so Lady Trample's going to have a full 30 seconds, just like Falcon Punch did.
And Falcon Punch being drawn to the back by the pivot line at least twice now. Very, very difficult wall to get through there. That is 128, 1806. So Danny Darko, Amy Booth. I think we might have Bisexual in the mix as well.
We do, and Bisexual hasn't been in the penalty box very much, considering almost fouling out in the last game that she played.
Yes, watching Bisexual, I think, on 6 penalties in the first half.
And then did not foul out.
Yeah, and then the entire second half very clean. Just pretty impressive.
Magical. It makes you wonder, though, when that happens. Did you know you were doing all those 6 penalties in the first half? Do you know what you're doing?
It's just saying worth it. It was worth it.
Always worth it.
Always worth it. Always worth it, as well is giving Miracle Whips the star, or giving, I think, is that Sarah Chambers?
Especially when there's, I don't know, what's that, 30 feet between.
And Sarah Chambers pushing on that front set of Montreal blockers. High block being called on Sarah Chambers. It's going to be another power jam for the Skids.
But I do believe, I don't know if lead had been called yet, but because Miracle Whips took the helmet cover off, don't know if Miracle Whips would be eligible for lead now.
I think she would be if she had recycled back, but I don't know if she did, and she wasn't given lead, so this will be a 2-minute jam. Miracle Whips now scoring eligible and back in the pack.
Sarah Chambers has been released from the penalty box. And it looks like Miracle Whips being drawn back to turn 1 just after the pivot line there.
Big drawn out pack. We have a group in the front, 2 bridges, a group in the back,
And
3 bridges now.
And 1 to beat for Montreal, 2-8-9 being the final blocker.
Everybody's scoring eligible now. Montreal's down to 2 blockers. Victoria's got their full complement of 4. Another recycle for Miracle Whips. Excuse me, Montreal's 3 blockers. There was one hiding.
Miracle Whips having a lot of trouble getting through now. You can see a little bit of fatigue and probably a little bit of relief that jam came to an end.
Looks like that jam was 5 and 5. 256 and 75 is the score.
Until this game wraps up.
We are looking at 5 minutes left right now.
Yes, so we will see VIP juniors, then we will see
Jim, we have
big kids.
Kyle Kenzie up against Lady Trample.
Lady Trample,
A lot of bodies hitting the floor there.
But there can be only one lead jammer, and that is
Lady Trample not lead jammer. No pass, no penalty.
So this could give Montreal an opportunity, if they pick up lead, to try and stem those points. But we can see how effective Victorian are with the walling right now. And
it's going to be a 2-minute jam. Montreal had taken that helmet cover off, completed that initial pass without it on, which means we're going the full 2.
Kenzie took their jammer cover off, which makes them ineligible for lead.
Oh man. But the star is now back on her own. Can she get lead now?
Nah.
Oh, what?
She get points though.
Oh, that's all right then.
Points is better than lead.
True.
Montreal Elcou doing some fantastic solo blocking there against Trample, but Trample round picking up those 4 points.
Surgical Strike really been a big influence in this Montreal pack
Victoria rewinding like video cassette.
as well.
lovely hop skip.
Yeah, everyone has been doing fantastic work. Trample with another 5 in the sky.
4 now for Kyle Kenzie. Trample making easy work of the broken up Montreal pack, and again, there's not that many of them there.
And with no calling it off, we're just going to see many, many points racked up on these passes.
The crowd very excited, so that's a
Big hit by Lauren Foote on Kyle Kenzie.
Yeah, Lauren Foote, very big hits there.
22 points for VRDL. 8 points for Montreal. Score now 278 to 83.
And we have 2.5 minutes left in this game, but please stick around because we have the MVP games going on track 1. Those will be starting momentarily.
They're very fun. If you've never watched them before, they're a super fun time. You should absolutely watch it.
Yep, we have the first half an hour of that will be the MVP juniors. So we'll have plenty of junior action. So you need to go and watch your future favorite star in this opening game. And you will also get to see both teams from WFTDA and MRDA have submitted their MVPs. Looking at Anna Paviova, she is MVP of that last jam and calling it off.
0-0 jam. We haven't seen very many of those in this game. Maybe 2. Honey Badger got out first, but had a no pass, no penalty. It wasn't lead, so Anna Paviova got lead. Tried to race. Honey Badger's like, I'm really fast. And Anna Paviova was like, you are really fast, and called it off.
I love the communication that they both have with one another.
And then they shook hands at the end, if you saw.
It's lovely.
They were like, well, thank you for being fast. Is it Miracle Whips jamming up against Sarah Chambers? You know I'm not the only person in the world who, like, has mind fan fiction about what jammers are saying to each other.
Oh, no. I mean, that is the whole reason we have announcers here, because we are we're able to translate what we think might be being said and letting you, the audience at home, know what's going through these minds.
It's going to be lead for Sarah Chambers.
So once more, Sarah Chambers, you have the lead jamming and only jamming.
Sarah Chambers has been a very effective point scorer for Victorian, so we will see Sarah Chambers given the opportunity to put a few more on the board before the end of this game.
This is going to be a power jam for VRDL. Gonna call this one off, locking Miracle Whips in the box.
And yeah, a timeout's being called by Victorian, so it looks like we will have another jam. Just before that though, got to tell you about Rydell. Experience world-class edging with the Radar Halo, available in a full range of harnesses from 84 all the way up to 103. There is a Halo for everyone. And I'm pretty sure we've got some of the players who's been on track this weekend showing us their edging skills with those Halos.
Oh, for sure, as they say.
We can see Lady Trample donning the star. And I think we can also see both benches just standing up, getting ready to honor this final jam of the game. Final jam of the sanctioned final jam of the final sanctioned game of the weekend.
You have Montreal standing. Victoria seems to be standing. Everyone's very excited both to end this weekend and get on to the after party, as well as to end what was a very fun game. And so far right now, looking at it, we have a 46-point differential from the last time these two teams met. So Victoria's winning by about 50 more points than they did last time these two teams played each other.
And Lady Trample out and lead, but Miracle Whips is back on the track. Trample putting up a sly 5 in the sky, and a big smile on Lady Trample's face as well.
Miracle Whips from Montreal.
Lady Trample calling it off. Miracle Whips has escaped. And
Excellent athleticism there, Miracle Whips.
we have that end of the game. So shall we tell you the unofficial scores? We'll wait for them to be made official, of course.
The unofficial. Oh, sorry, you can say it.
No, no, no.
You can see it better.
I can see it better. We have Montreal are on 83 with that 8-point jam. That's putting Victorian on 289 points. Again, we will wait for this to be official. That whistle says it is. That is the final score. So Victorian taking home a very lovely win against the beautiful neon army that is New Skids on the block.
New Skids on the Block had a wonderful weekend. They weren't able to put up a win against Angel or Victoria, but they did show that they are still hanging in where they were. This is only a 51 point. Victoria won with 51 points more than they did at Champs. I don't think that is a testament to Montreal getting worse. I think that Victoria has actually strengthened. You know, it seemed on Friday maybe they weren't going to be as strong as last year, but now by the time that we get to Sunday, I think that that was a premature, what's the word I'm looking for? Assumption, yes.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing the action from both of these teams as, you know, I don't know if Big O is the official start of the WFTDA roller derby season, but it can feel a bit like it sometimes, and we will see much more from both of these teams over the coming months in the run up to playoffs and to champs. And I'm looking forward to seeing what both of these teams will do.
I am too. Thank you so much for joining us at this game and on tracks 2 and 3, which are now done for the weekend.
Yep.
Head on over to track 1 for your end of the Big O MVP games. I'm October Revolution here with Go Bug Boots, and we were produced tonight by Loose Change. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful night.
Have a fantastic night.